Code 3. A live podcast sponsored by the Marin Fire History Group. All about the history of the fire service in Marin County, California. And now your host, retired Fire Chief Bill Lellis.
Good day, and once again, welcome to the Marin County Fire Chief's historical website. We're here in San Rafael, California, as we're going to be interviewing Dr. Stefan Mizroch, who has an outstanding collection of patches. And when I say that, after visiting his office where his main collections are, I have to tell you it's one of the most outstanding collections, historical collections of fire service of Marin County and probably San Francisco that I have ever seen. He has stuff that he's going to have to search me before I leave here because I may take some, but it's just outstanding. And being an old historical buff myself, I see things that just I'm in awe of, and his collection is incredible. So with that, let me introduce the doctor. My first question is to you, doctor, is how did it all begin?
Okay, great question. Bill, thank you so much for this opportunity. I love the patches and I love to share the information with other people.
Yeah.
I really started collecting badges in about 1992.
Okay.
I was collecting coins at the time and my coin dealer called and said, I have some badges you may find interesting. And I looked at them and I thought, those are very cool. So it was a couple police badges, a couple fire badges, and I bought those, and then I found out there was a national convention of badge and patch collectors. It was in Reno at the time, so I spent the weekend up in Reno and went to this collection and found other collectors who collected patches and badges, and I eventually gravitated towards fire stuff because being in the medical profession, I'm very interested in paramedics and fire safety, picking people up on emergency calls, and I became connected to the San Rafael Fire Department. And after that, the fire patches became most interesting to me.
Okay.
So though I've collected a lot of different things, badges, patches, and other ephemera, the patches became my main focus.
It's an outstanding collection, to say the least. Honestly, just by any chance, do you recall the first patch that you got?
I suspect it was San Rafael,
Yeah.
San Rafael Fire, because I joined the commission in mid-1992,
Okay.
and that was probably my first patch. What I found at the show was it was very hard to buy fire patches. Most collectors wanted to trade. So if you didn't have a group of traders, you couldn't get other patches.
Oh.
So I started looking around, writing fire stations, visiting fire stations, and I not only had a collection, but I had some duplicates, and then I used the duplicates to trade for new patches.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. I remember you contacted me, and I sent you one from the old Rodeo. I currently live in Hercules, and their first Rodeo Hercules Fire Protection District, but the Rodeo volunteers had a very unique, because Rodeo used to be a center point for all the cattle to come down at the end of the season to be shipped out for the slaughterhouses. And their patch was a fireman riding a bronco, which was I always thought that's a unique looking patch.
That's a great image.
And we still have some, and so I sent it over to you, and don't
And
want to
I'm
think
deeply
so.
grateful.
But
Thank you very much.
I was now the idea is, like, as we talk here, Paul, with all the volunteer departments and being no longer, and even the paid departments merging, those patches from the departments like Larkspur no longer is a coordinator, no longer fire departments, but their patches are, I think, more valuable as they want to go on into the dust of time. So I just think it's an incredible thing. But listen, I would like to get back to your life a little personal. You born and raised?
Virginia,
Virginia.
from Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
Born and raised here. Went to college in Atlanta at Emory University,
Okay.
4 years. And then I went to medical school at the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
1972 to 76.
Anybody else in the family in the medical profession?
My My uncle was a physician and had some friends in the family that were in the medical field.
Yeah, it seems to run.
Yeah, there's some connection.
Yeah.
My dad's brother was an oncologist.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so then after medical school, I matched for internship at Kaiser San Francisco,
Oh, okay.
76 to 79, 3-year program.
Okay.
And then after that, I joined the San Rafael staff of San Rafael as an internist, internal medicine and geriatrics.
Right.
Was
Okay.
my
good.
specialty.
Okay. So
So,
I'm in the right room then.
yeah, we're on the right room.
Yeah.
You know what they say, Bill? As you get older, everything either dries up or leaks.
Yeah.
One or the
Yeah.
other.
I like that. Yeah.
So, but I found medicine very satisfying. They say that God heals and the doctor takes the credit.
Yeah.
So that was also a good thing when
Yes.
things went right, at least.
Yeah.
And so I had that full career.
And how many years have you been in the medical business?
Well, I did 31 years at Kaiser San Rafael.
Wow. You've seen that grow up there. My God, you've seen the county expand.
Yeah, I mean, we had started with a small group, and then we grew Santa Rosa, and then Novato, Petaluma, new facilities. So we went from a membership of, I think, 50,000 to 120,000 over that time
Wow.
for the whole area of Marin and Sonoma.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's
you mentioned the guy from Rodeo Hercules, the cowboy on a Bronco.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great image. And a lot of patches are very special in that way. They have something very unique to that area. And that's one of the joys of the patches. And like you say, the departments eventually may go defunct,
Yeah.
volunteer departments especially,
yeah.
or taken over by CAL FIRE or the county
Yes,
or whatever.
that's correct.
So then the history is lost if you don't remember
Yeah.
what took place, and keeping the patches is a way of that connection to history.
Yeah.
So it stays alive.
Yeah. Right now, if you were to go onto the market and want to buy a patch, what would be the high end and maybe what country or department would it be that would be a high end cost for a patch?
For a patch?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very complicated question.
Okay.
The internet is filled with patches. If you go on eBay, there's probably 2,000 or 3,000 fire patches on sale at any time, maybe more. A typical patch, we were talking with Paul a bit about this. If a department orders 500 patches, they probably pay $1 a piece for them in bulk. You know,
Right,
large
right.
department where they're going to use them for years. If a department orders 25 or 50 patches, it can be $6, $8, $10 a patch to buy it if it's a small number,
Right.
if it's a specific design. So when I write for a patch to a department, I don't expect them to give it to me for free because that's an expense.
Yeah.
And a lot of departments get countless requests
Right.
for pouches. So I usually send $5 for a patch,
Right.
especially a station patch.
Okay.
If it's a station patch in San Jose or Sacramento or Los Angeles, I'll send $5 because that covers their cost.
Right.
Sometimes they'll send the money back, sometimes they'll say thank you, we'll put that in the patch fund. So patches generally run about $4 to $5 a piece.
Okay.
That's typical. But a rare patch, if 2 collectors want it on eBay, you know,
It's
30,
going-
50, 100,
Wow.
it goes a little crazy.
Yeah.
So one of the things about patches is you need to know, sort of understand the value of a patch before you start bidding on it or buy it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to overpay for something, because if you're collecting, you want to have a large collection, you want many opportunities to buy. You don't want to, go crazy on one patch
Yeah.
unless it's dear to your heart.
Yeah.
Something you know is rare, hard to get. And so over time you learn these things. Novice collectors usually make mistakes in overpaying or buying too much or overpaying. As you learn how the patches work, you get a much better feel for a true value. Which doesn't mean that a patch you know is worth $5 won't go for 100 on eBay.
Right.
It may.
Yeah.
That's like anything. If people want to overpay, that's their choice.
Yeah.
But I prefer not to do that.
Would you estimate how many patches you have?
I know for a fact that I have over 6,000 California patches because I've listed them. I've got a list of every patch in my core collection, and I just passed 6,200 recently, and even more because I haven't put them all in the collection yet. But I know for a fact, and I focus on California.
Okay.
Although I have some patches from travel, which I can talk to you about,
Yeah.
which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
In general, I don't collect outside of California because you just have to focus.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I have friends who collect the entire United States.
Right.
I don't know how they do it. They have collections from every state, or maybe 10 states, or 15 states. For me, one state is more than enough.
Yeah.
California's huge, long history, tons of patches. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And I have to focus.
Yeah.
And I urge collectors to focus, or otherwise you're all over the place.
You're all over the place.
Yeah.
Do you, by any chance, do you have any from international patches?
I do.
Yeah.
Would you like to see one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love
I've
to
got a
see
few
some.
props here. Okay, these are
Look these later. Yeah.
these are 3 favorite patches. This one is from Ushuaia, Argentina.
Oh yeah.
I was on a trip there, and we're having lunch with our group, and I said to the waitress, "Where's the fire department?" Oh, she goes, "It's just down the street about 6 or 7 blocks." So I said, "Excuse me," I said goodbye to my wife, have a good lunch. I went to the fire station, I got this patch, Bomberos Voluntarios de Ushuaia, Tierra del Fuego, and it has a penguin with a bucket of ice putting out the fire.
That's
Now,
cool.
that is a great little patch.
That is.
So
So
that,
you were on the southern tip of Argentina then?
yes,
Wow.
yeah. So it took me about 25 minutes or half an hour. I came back to lunch and I was the happiest guy in the room because I had this patch.
Yeah.
It's very whimsical, very special, so that's special.
Unexpected.
Okay, here's one. This is from Armenia, Yerevan, Armenia.
Okay.
I said to we were on a trip, I said to our group leader, "Where's the fire department?" She goes, "Oh, it's just down the street, but you can't go there. It's not allowed. You know, you're in Armenia, it's not allowed." So when someone tells me I can't do something,
Oh.
I'm grateful,
Yeah.
because then it gives me an opportunity to do it. So I went there, I met these 2 guys, but didn't speak any English. I pointed to the patch, and we started doing sign language, and he cut this patch off his uniform.
Oh.
This patch is silk.
Wow. He
Look
cut
at,
it
look
off
at the
his
workmanship
uniform.
on that patch. It's incredible. So
This
we had a
is-
beautiful interaction. I gave them some challenge coins, and they gave me the patch, and we had a good time. We never said anything that we could each understand the entire time, but that's Armenia.
There's a lot of history there.
And the
There's a
third
lot
and
of
final
history,
patch
a lot
I'll
of
talk
history.
about. This is Paro Airport in Bhutan. It's at the airport. We're on a plane, we came into the airport. I saw the fire station right there, so I went there, and I said to the guy, we chatted, and I said, "Do you have a patch?" And he goes, "Yeah." There it is, Paro International Airport.
So
although
was that a trip to the Himalayas?
yes, well, more or less, yeah. It's in the Himalayas.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the international airport, Paro. It's a aircraft rescue, firefighting.
Yes.
So that's typical in a lot
Yeah.
of airports. But
The one thing about collecting is you camaraderie and you make new friends. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you may never see each other, but you're communicating now with the internet. You can talk to one another and stuff like that. That's the one, like with stamp collecting. I have connections with people in Europe and Russia, and if I want to talk to them, I go online, and we all have our email addresses. And I mean, that's what happens with these hobbies, and patches is a great camaraderie and developing of friendships.
Well, and the doctor walks into a foreign country, into a fire station,
Yeah,
and has 2 new friends.
yeah, you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
when we were in Japan, I visited the Kyoto headquarters, and the chief was there. We chatted, and we had a translator. I didn't have an appointment, I just went in, and he gave me this fan, like a fan that you fan yourself. It says in Japanese, "Beware fire." So Mary still has that.
Yeah.
And that was like a cool little thing, just a unique little
Yeah.
experience.
We love doing what we do.
Yeah.
And if we don't do it,
It's not.
who
gonna
else
get-
is going to do it?
Not gonna get
Yeah.
done.
And if we don't do it now, when's it going to get done?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So having opportunities like today are just, they're
Yeah.
priceless. They really are.
Yeah,
is fun.
it is, I'm just, like, I know no one, not to say anything about the new generation, but there's a generation coming that'll probably want the history that our time will be their history. And, that's what I'm hoping for, that we're leaving something that if someone wants to do research on an object or something like that.
I know about how many fire departments there are in California, so you have to have duplicates, different series, same department, but different renditions of their department patch than to get to 6,000.
Bingo. That's quite correct. Let me just give you a couple numbers.
Go ahead, yeah, please.
Okay, So so I collect California patches.
Right.
Just California. But if you break down California, how do you collect it? Well, first of all, most people collect it by county.
Sure.
There's 58 counties, okay? Originally in 1850, when the state became a state, there were 27 counties. Marin is one of the first 27. Just historical fact for you. Okay, then they got divided and sliced up. The only county that was of the original 27 that didn't make it to 58 is Klamath County. There was a Klamath County in California in 1850, but it went away. Otherwise, every other county of the 27 is still one of the 58, and then they got subdivided. So collecting by county is a very common thing. You'll find collectors that collect 1 or 2 or 3 counties. I collect all 58. What other ways can you collect? So in some counties, CAL FIRE is predominant station. It's a prominent fire protection agency. So in Riverside County, for instance, it's all CAL FIRE. However, many of those stations have station patches. So I collect the station patches.
Oh, okay.
They used to be volunteers. Sage, Pine Cove, lots of different volunteers that went away. Now CAL FIRE is the provider of services, but a lot of them have station patches. So that's one of the ways I collect. Okay, in addition, volunteer fire departments, those are very common, like in Camp Meeker up in Sonoma County, Occidental, those are mostly volunteer. Those are great patches to collect. So for those, I would collect every iteration of the patch if it's changed. You might collect refinery fire departments, like Tesoro, Valero, Wilmington, Chevron in the East Bay. I have all the refineries and their fire patches and the different things. Okay, another way to collect would be military bases. Vandenberg, McClellan, Edwards Air Force Base, China Camp. So there's military installations all over the state. Many still open, some have closed, but usually they have fire departments and rescue departments, so those patches are important. Go ahead.
Question, did Hamilton Fire Department have a patch, the federal facility that was there?
I have a fire badge from Hamilton Air Force Base. I've never seen a patch. I hope it exists, and if you find it, let me know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I do have the badge.
Wow.
Okay, and here's one other thought. Federal agencies, U.S. Forest Service. There's 20 national forests in California. They have one standard patch. It says Department of Agriculture, U.S. Forest Service. But many of the engine crews have a little patch they put on their hat, or they have a small little engine crew patch, or fire management patch. So that has been a great, very difficult to get. You got to find the address to write to. Physically going there for me is impossible, but I have many engine company patches from U.S. Forest Service fire departments. And then the BLM, Department of Interior, BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs, they have like the Golden Eagles and Siquan or Hotshot Crew. I have those patches. Hotshot Crews. There's like, I think about, Hotshot Crews in California, 19 in the northern part of the state, 29 in the south. So if you can get a hotshot patch, excellent.
So, I mean, you never think about it, always describes it by county, within the county, the station patches.
Yeah.
It's very logical.
Yeah,
It's just like your stamp collecting,
Yeah.
Bill. It's,
Yeah.
you take a type and you take a country or a region and you just focus on that. It's very logical.
Yeah.
Sounds like you can manage it that way.
Yeah.
yeah, you can, you
And
can.
what's often neat is to be able to find the patch first. Because among collectors, there's a certain competition.
Sure.
I deal with a lot of people and I go to patch shows.
Right.
We talked about where you get patches.
Yeah.
Well, the internet's a good way. Going to patch shows is really good. There's at least 5 or 6 in California every year. I try to go to all of them.
Wow.
Flea markets are great. Sometimes in an antique shop, you'll find a patch floating around. Trading with other traders is really important. Visiting a station is very cool. It's a low yield. Like sometimes you'll go to 20 stations and they won't have any patches
Right.
to trade you or give you or whatever, or you have the patch. And then you'll hit a station that, oh yeah, we have several station patches. Which one do you want? I want them all. So you can hit a jackpot,
Yeah.
but you gotta go there. You gotta take the time,
Yeah.
travel, talk to people. And so that's part of the fun of the collecting.
It
Yeah.
is, and it's the history. That's now we did a little bit on sidelight here. The badges have great history of what we put in the center. You know, normally we put a ladder, axes, and pipe poles and stuff like that. But the significance of the Maltese
Yes.
cross, and the St. John's ambulance service, and the history of that.
I was going to show you something just in terms of patch designs. So, what shape are patches?
Oh, yeah.
Many different shapes. These are round. There's a Compton and a Presidio of Monterey, round patches. Okay. Now, more classical is the LA shape.
Oh, okay.
They call this the LA shape because Los Angeles had the shape early on, and so it's referred to as LA shape.
Right.
Okay. Then you got the Maltese. That's probably one of the most common.
Okay.
These are all California patches.
Variations.
Maltese cross. Carlotta, Maltese cross. Anaheim station patch, Maltese. And this is a San Rafael patch, the first one. This one defies description. It's got the CHP shape, but it's upside down. So that is the original patch. Chief Marcucci, he said the firefighters were on 4th Street one time for a parade. They didn't have a patch at that point, and they got mistaken for service station attendants
Oh.
because they didn't have a patch. So they said, we want a patch. So Marcucci put together that patch for San Rafael. And then I made it San Rafael Fire Commission. I had that made for the Fire Commission. And then these are shapes I can't even describe. It's sort of, there's an elk fire
Marin County.
and there's a Tamalpais fire crew. I did that for the Tamalpais fire crew. And it's got like the chainsaw around it, Marin County. They put it on their gear bags.
Very unique.
Very
Yeah,
unique.
It is, yeah.
So the shape can be rectangular, it can be LA shape, but different patches, the shape can be anything.
Yeah, you could just stay with the one shape if you like too.
Yeah. I like all shapes.
Yeah.
The design to me is more important than the shape.
Yeah.
If the design is great, the shape of the patch doesn't matter.
Yeah. But it is, I cannot, Stefan, I cannot explain how happy I am to have met you for the first time and gone through your hobby and see that someone else as crazy as us.
Yeah,
About it.
and to meet former fire chiefs in Marin County, this is an honor for me.
Yeah,
So
it's
thank
just,
you
it's
so
just
much.
so much fun, yeah. I want to take the opportunity again and thank you so much for meeting with us and agreeing to have this interview and showing us what I consider one of the most fabulous collections of patches that I'll probably ever see. And the history of it, being an old historian and being also a hobbyist in the fire service, I gotta be very careful not to wanna go into it. You know what I mean? So, but we do just appreciate your time, both in the medical profession that you gave to the county all those years at Kaiser, and of course, introducing us to your beautiful patch collection. So again, Doctor, I want
Bill,
to
thank you so much.
Thank you so
And
much.
I just want to say, when I go to a station, I talk to firefighters, I try to get them to start collecting.
Yes,
Because I think if we have more collectors, especially if you're starting your career in the fire service, that's a perfect time to
Oh,
start.
it is,
You
yeah.
meet people, you travel, you go to a big fire. I've got commemorative fire patches from the Carr Fire and the Dixie Fire and all these big fires.
Yeah.
They do a little patch and stuff. So why not collect that and let that be part of your history?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
not expensive. You can do it very
Very
simply.
nice, yeah.
I think it's a great hobby.
It is, absolutely. And the history behind getting while you're on vacation.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was really good.
I remember those trips better than any other
The
trips.
penguin with the bucket of ice. That's just classic stuff. That is stuff. So again, thank you so much.
Bill,
All
thank you
right,
so
all
much.
right.
It's an honor.